Enw fi yw Nigel Jeffries, dwi o cwmni enw y Cwtmwlcyf a da ni yn dilas ar Ynys Môn. Da ni'n gweithio gyda pysgotwyr lleol, da ni'n smocio neu mygu'r bwyd yn y smocery a da ni'n gwerthu fo allan wedyn yn direct. Mae'r festival yma yn help mawr i cryfhau yr links rhwng busnesau lleol. Da ni'n cael cyfarfod pobl a da ni'n cael siarad hefo cwsmeriad yn egluro o lle mae'r pysgod yn dod, sut maen nhw wedi cael ei ddal a sut da ni'n trin y pysgod.
Aquaroots is about a year old. It's based in Bethesda. We have a workshop there where we're making our flat pack fish, which is an aquaponic system, an educational aquaponic system. The reason we've come here today is to try and introduce a more sustainable way of farming fish to future generations.
I'm a mussel farmer from the Menor Straits, but I've also been chair of the Gwynedd and Anglesey Fisheries Local Action Group since 2013. So it's a really successful event, but it's great to hear from lots of the people who are walking around how much interest there is about seafood. Traditionally, conventionally, a lot of the products that we produce are exported because there's been a lack of interest, a lack of local interest. So events like the one today really help generate an increasing interest in the local community to consume local products.
I travelled up last night from Carmarthen where I've got the Pumpkin Patch Cookery School. It's a cookery and gardening school introducing children to growing their own vegetables and cooking obviously, just to get children interested in food again, which is something that has sort of gone off the agenda in schools, and kids love to cook, so we just come together and have good fun.
The flag, or the Local Action Group for Fisheries, I was aware of it because they were helping other sea salt companies around Britain, and I got involved with them nearly 2 years ago. I put forward the idea that whereas we were a manufacturing business, we weren't really geared to visitors, and we could be, bearing in mind that our fundamental raw ingredient is the sea, and we depend on having clean seawater from which the fisheries are based. We could show people a slightly off-centre view of uses of the sea, and we could really take them behind the scenes. And we'd spent just over 10 years trying to build this manufacturing plant, and Flag's help meant that we could design in a visitor centre as well, which would actually create another 3 jobs and help the brand of Hull and Mon by explaining why, if you make something by hand and make it well, it will cost more, but it will reward you with more, both the visitors and the employees who work here. Now, when we thought about it, we looked at it from a very visitor-centric point of view. The things that Flag could help us with were that there was an education room where we could introduce people and we could tell the story of the business through a modern video, just a 5-minute introduction, that it could help pay for the facilities that then put a corridor right through the main salt plant and let you see the salt being harvested on one side and the salt being packed on the other side, both through specialist viewing windows. All these things were 50% funded. It helped to provide the history of salt in an imaginative set of graphics shaped like our salt flakes, and the story of how the salt is made, because it takes about 2 weeks with a different part of the process every day, is also on another wall going from day 1 to day 14 or 15. It helped fund all those things, and we were able to put those into the mix with the architect and the designers and our team. A year and a half later, this is the result. We've been going 6 months, we've had 2,500 to 3,000 paying visitors, and really the proof of the pudding's in the eating.
My boat, Top Cat, I bought it 2 years ago with the sole purpose of diversifying into the tourist industry, and then I approached the Flag about applying for a grant to get in all the safety equipment to carry tourists on board. A drop-down camera system showing them what's underneath the water. I've had that since probably June. What it basically does It enables us to go out, show people what's under the water, enables us to take work on with bodies such as NRW, if they want to do some sampling. More than that, it's just to show the general public what's underneath the water, because it's not just sand. There's a lot of life down there.
We recently got funding through the Flag Group from European Fisheries Fund and the Welsh Assembly Government, and it's allowed us to hugely increase the diversity of species that we've got on display. We were the first aquarium in the UK to breed hippocampus, which is one of the 2 species of British seahorse, and this funding has allowed us to get all the systems in place for the 2nd species, so we'll soon have both species of British seahorse in our seahorse breeding nursery, which is very, very exciting, and hopefully will allow us to expand that further and look at sort of really breeding the animals properly and looking possibly at re-release in the future, which is what we're aiming to do. Also, we've got jellyfish tanks coming, so for the first time we'll actually be able to have jellyfish and include them in our display in our no-bone zone, which is our sort of big invertebrate area. And obviously they're a really important part of the food web. There's a lot of educational aspect to them, a lot of fisheries aspect to them, so that's another really important niche that we're filling as well with the funding that we're getting for these displays.
Da ni'n gweithio gyda Flag. Da ni wedi cael pin o funding, help mawr i ni i ddechrau'r busnes allan a symud y busnes ymlaen yn y dyfodol.
The funding that's come through Access for the European Fisheries Fund, that's the source of funding that provides money for the Fisheries Local Action Groups in Wales, has really significantly facilitated the delivery of this event today and in previous years, which in fact is what that money is supposed to do. It's supposed to connect the fish that the fishermen catch with the consumer.
Flag-funded projects like this festival are a fantastic showcase for local products to show both local people and visitors about the wealth that we've got in the seas surrounding the island.
Fishermen are struggling to make a living today because of the cost of gear, the cost of ropes. Everything in the fishing industry has gone up, but the price of the lobsters has remained the same. Without finance, fishermen can't afford to do it. So yes, the flag was very important to the fishing industry.
Mae'r gwasanaeth yr fflag yna i bysgotwyr a bwysig bod bysgotwyr yn ymwybodol o'r gwasanaeth sydd yna.
Da ni wedi bod yn gwireddu fflag gwan dros 3 blynedd ac wedi cefnogi a cynllunio amrediad eang o gynlluniau. Mae lawer o waith wedi cael ei wneud efo pobl ifanc ac ysgolion a plant ifanc mwyn datblygu y dealltwriaeth am fwyd môr a gobeithio fydden nhw'n mynd adra deud rhenni brynu mwy o fwyd môr. Gweithio efo bwytai annog yn hwy i ddefnyddio mwy bwyd môr ar ei bwydlenni. Ond hefyd mae fflag wedi bod yn cefnogi nifer o gwyliau, codi proffil bwyd môr, ac hefyd efo pysgotwyr a busnesau unigol mwyn arallgyfeirio o fewn diwydiant pysgota a tu allan hefyd. A wedyn mae'r fflag wedi ceisio ymwneud efo amrediad eang o gynlluniau mwyn helpu'r economi o fewn diwydiant morwrol.